Measures ozone from the surface up to about 30 kilometers, 100,000 feet. Really simple. It's just a little part that comes to air.
We wrote a prelude to our own fairy tale and bought a parachute at a church rummage sale, and with a mean sewing machine and miles of thread, we sewed the day above LA in navy and red. We wound a racetrack through your mom's kitchen chairs and fought the shadows back down your dark basement stairs. I lit a match, then let it catch to light up the room, and then you yelled.
My name is Andy Clark. My job here is science technician. Take care of all of the year-round science that goes on up here. So we are taking care of instruments that monitor gases in the air and in the snow, and we also sample snow to be sent back to other institutions and to be analyzed.
Cool. And what's your favorite part about being here in the station?
My favorite part about being here at the station, we'll have to bring the camera around here. My favorite part of being here at the station is being with Ken here, who's the manager of Summit this year. And how could this not be my favorite part of being here?
Just go away.
No, my favorite part of being up here is being around all these great people and honestly having visitors like you come up here.
My name's Ken Jessen. I'm the station manager here at Summit Camp. This is the second summer I've done it. Also managed 2 of the late winter phases. And about 15 years ago I worked here as a general field assistant. As manager you do many different things. Today, for example, I was working the radio and computer and giving out weather to pilots for 2 C-130s that came into camp here to drop off fuel. I'll be doing the same tomorrow. I organize the daily activities, make sure people around the station have the equipment they need or are communicating properly. And sometimes I'm just a dishwasher if the dishes need to be done. So that's the good thing about this job. You do many different things. And an even better part is that you get to meet great people. This landscape, I love this landscape. It's big and flat and white. And I think it's a real privilege to have all these empty horizons in a crowded world. But as much as I love that and all the quiet out here, it's the people that brings me back. This is my 6th time here, and I'm pretty sure I'll be back again. Really good people from all over the world, varying interests, interesting science and students. So yeah, I feel very fortunate to have this position.
My name's Lucas Nordby. I live in Duluth, Minnesota, and this is my 3rd season at Summit Station. My primary responsibilities are to keep the generators running on station, provide power, and also to keep the equipment running so that we can clear snow, work on the skiway, etc., etc. So mostly it's just maintenance of all the equipment. I like the people that you meet up at Summit. They're all very positive people, a lot of energy, and everybody has a lot of great stories. You meet people from all over the world here, and that's one of the great things I really enjoy. The other thing that I really enjoy about Summit is the difficulty of the job. Not a lot of people would think of this as a great job just because of the difficulties and the remoteness and being away from home for so long. There's a lot of adversities to overcome. That's what I like about it. The turnover goes good. We typically have about 5 to 7 days to introduce the new mechanic to the station and bring them up to speed on operations and repairs that are needed. This is my 4th turnover, so it's gotten to be pretty easy for me. I'm sure for the incoming mechanics it's never easy. There's so many questions you have to ask. It does go well. I'm actually leaving next Friday, which will be the 20th. I arrived here in February 4th of this year. So I'll be here, I will have been here for 6 months. Just short.
Do you have anything to say?
Hi, Mom.
My name's Chantel Stapleton. I'm a mechanic here at Summit Camp.
Okay, so we understand that there's going to be a turnover between you and Luke. How's that going, do you think?
That's going great. It's a lot of information, and yeah, I'm learning a lot about this particular location. But so a lot of it's really familiar, and some of it's new, but it's going really well.
So how do you think this is going to compare with what you've done in Antarctica?
It'll be quite a bit different, mostly because it's a much smaller station. In Antarctica, the stations are pretty big. So, other than that, I have worked in the field down there in smaller camps. That's comparable, but this has a lot more going on for the size of the camp. So, I'm only here for about 5.5 weeks, and that's just the rest of this phase. So, that'll be the end of August, towards the end of August. But I really enjoy traveling and getting out and seeing the world, and I enjoy being able to do work that's all over the world, and also participate in things like the science that's happening here and supporting that sort of thing. So just mixing my life interests of traveling with work and being able to sustain it that way is pretty cool. So.
To decide that the things that I tried were in my life just to get high on. When I sit alone, come get a little known, but I need more than myself this time. Step from the road to the sea to the sky, and I do believe that we rely on. When I lay it on, come get to play it on, all my life to sacrifice. Hey, oh, listen what I say, oh, I got your head. Now listen what I say, oh, oh. When will I know that I really can go to the well once more? Time to decide on when it's killing me. When will I really see all that I need to look inside? Come to believe that I better not leave before I get my chance to ride. When it's killing me, what do I really need?
At 0 degrees it was minus 38 degrees. Celsius. And at 45 degrees it was minus 55 degrees, and at 90 degrees it was minus 60 degrees. So it gets higher. Yeah, and we use this infrared pointer thing, which measure temperature.
It's warmest here.
Yeah, it was about 49.8 Fahrenheit at ground, and then it was 41 at 2 meters, and then it was only 32.3 at the tallest airway.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
My name's Chris Cox. I'm a graduate student, a PhD candidate at the University of Idaho, and I work with the Ice Caps program. The program is housed in this facility behind me. It's called the Mobile Science Facility. Ice Caps stands for the Integrated Characterization of Energy Clouds, Atmospheric State Precipitation at Summit. We are interested in the atmosphere, and in particular we're interested in studying clouds. I have been here before. This project has been going since the spring of 2010, and so my first time to Summit was in May 2010 to help set up everything that you see here, and I also served as our technician during the winter of 2011 between February and April.
So, what's your favorite part about working here?
It's a unique experience, and you have a lot of unique experiences working here, and you see a lot of interesting things as a person who's interested in the atmosphere, seeing things like we saw last night. We saw that fog bow, and I find that stuff really interesting, and so I think that's really rewarding. It's also very exciting to have such great measurements here over the ice sheet, and to be learning really new things about this place. And finally, the people here at Summit are awesome, always great people here. Well, my personal goal is to get my PhD, so I have another 2 years, maybe a year and a half, and so I'm planning to use the data sets that we're acquiring here at Ice Caps to complete my dissertation. We're taking something called the brightness temperature of different angles from the horizon in the atmosphere. And this temperature tells us how much energy, or is related to how much energy is being measured by the instrument, which can tell us something about, in this particular case, water vapor, how much water vapor is in the atmosphere.
I've come from Adelaide in South Australia to spend a week here at Summit, checking a scientific instrument that I have on the tall meteorological tower. I'm really enjoying my stay here very much. It's been a bit of a shock to come to somewhere at such high altitude so suddenly, but I'm recovering from that, and it's really good here. I'm enjoying all the great food and company, and it's 1 week that's going to go too quickly. I leave on Friday, so I will have stayed 1 week then, and then I will go back to Kangerlussuaq, and I will, if my return to Kangerlussuaq is not delayed, I will then try to do a little bit of tourism in Greenland.
You should do that.
And I am due back in Adelaide in nearly 2 weeks. I might come back next year. It depends on on the success of my experiment, and it also depends on whether I can find the time. My experiment is to develop a device which will detect supercooled liquid water in clouds. And supercooled liquid water is what makes aircraft ice up and fall out of the sky. And this will be a device which will be useful to meteorologists and weather forecasters. And this is more ambitious. It will be useful for longer-term weather forecasting and climate modeling. And it may have some applications in precipitation studies of ice sheets.
name's Quentin.
And where do you come from?
I come from Wisconsin, in the States.
Yeah. Why are you here?
Money, to work, cook, support science.
Oh, good
You
answer.
can edit the rest of that out. I'm here to support science.
So what are you doing?
Cook. Just cook lunch and dinner for camp staff and scientists for various projects.
So do you have other duties?
Not really. Mostly just cooking. And I mean anything else around camp that I see that needs to be done, I try to take care of. Read, watch movies, play golf.
Play golf. Up here.
Ice sheet golf.
What we're looking at is a few years of accumulation, and so this is from here to about here, from this past spring, since maybe January. So starting about here, we have fern all the way down for 80 meters. And one interesting thing is you mentioned the light and the dark. So here we see a lot of darker bands. That's from last winter. But there's also some light bands in here. So there were storms that brought different types of snow. And each layer is a different snowstorm, basically. This triangle was one snowstorm, but it must have been really windy and blown it up into a little map. And another thing that's different about this snow pit is all of these really clear bands. And this is really cool. These are melt layers because it's been so warm. There are some channels of melt water, and then they hit a really hard layer here and run out horizontally. So what I study, we take a fern core. So we drill down a hole, and we only get to see one part of this wall all the way down. And as you can see, the layers aren't even, so it's hard to get the whole story from one core. Another thing is that the crystals are different sizes, and some of them are really soft. You can poke in really easily, and this is really hard. And that's another way we can tell between summer and winter. I'm Caitlin Keegan, and I'm a PhD student in New Hampshire in the United States at Dartmouth College. I study fern, and right now we're in a snow pit, and if you look at the wall, we have about 2.5 years of snow, and old snow we call fern. And so today we took measurements, took samples of the snow at different layers, and we measured the weight, and we know the volume, so we're going to calculate the density of the top 1.8 meters of the fern. I came up to Summit with the JSUP program so I could teach you about snow and fern and how our measurements here relate to the deep ice cores that are drilled in Greenland. Here at Summit in the 1990s, and then the new one at Nîmes that was finished in 2010. Like you guys saw before, I like to twirl batons, which is a very American thing. And I also like ice cream a lot, and to watch movies. My favorite part about the ice sheet is that like you guys did, you go to the end of the skiway and you can see forever in every direction it seems just snow, and it's the sun is shining so brightly onto the snow surface it looks like a field of diamonds, and it's sparkly and pretty.
will capture the core. As you drill, you'll be turning this in a clockwise direction, and the cutters will cut into the snow and drill down, and so your core will come inside the center chamber. When you drill, because the diameter of the head is wider than the hole where the core goes, you'll be creating what's called ice chips, and those chips get transported up these diagonal lines and fall into the holes on top of where the core is. So it's a way to collect both the chips and the core and keep it clean.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
My name is Ben Walker. I'm the medic here at Summit Camp. I've been coming here since 2010, and I spent half the season here between June and late August. And the reason why I come here is because it's, one, I get to work out a lot, two, I meet a lot of interesting people, and you can. One of the other reasons I came here was to make some connections for grad school, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what's your favorite part about being here?
The 16,000-foot groomed runway for skiing and running is really fun. And the quirky people that you meet and work with, and the ability to do a wide variety of jobs. I've gotten to do a lot of mechanic work and some science type work, so that's been pretty good.
Who's gonna save the world tonight?